the Ministry of Health has launched yet another service under universal health coverage. This new service includes conducting pap smears using liquid-based cytology, which will assist in eliminating cervical cancer.
This new method of conducting pap smears is more comfortable and more convenient. So ladies, contact your nearest wellness center to get to know about our pap smear clinics.
Turnaround time for HPV testing is 1 week. Any abnormal or positive test, there'll be a following week for cytology testing. We're also going to test for HPV strains 16 and 18, which are the most aggressive, which cause cervical cancer. We can also test for other STIs, such as herpes simplex type 1 and type 2, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and others.
Patients with an abnormal HPV and an abnormal cytology shall be referred to the colposcopy clinic. At that clinic, we shall assure that you get the proper treatment and guidance.
So come in and access this new service. Your health is our priority.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate help prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man.
Friday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside Alton Jaquan Joseph, our technical operator. It is the 11th day of October 2024, and we've come through another week of this program, which airs on weekdays, holidays accepted, from 12:30 until 2 p.m. on Real FM Radio, 91.3 for the North and 91.5 for the South. Simulcasting on NBC Television, Channel 120 on the Flow Cable TV service. We are on Facebook Live and streaming live via YouTube as well. It's been a shortened week, but a week is a week. Is a week where the program is concerned. We know that Monday was the Thanksgiving holiday, October Monday. And so we've had just 4 days, but we've been through them quite nicely, quite well. Thank you so very much for your continued support, for your presence, and for cheering on this program and giving it the kind of participation input that makes it worth your while and ours. I trust the day is going good for you so far. Mine is. And whatever isn't all that great, just consider that this is the way of the world, this is the way of life, this is the way of everything. That sometimes you have those peak of the mountain moments, and other times you have the not so wonderful ones, but they're all part of the grand lattice of life, and in fact some of the things that gives it meaning, that gives us understanding of it, that grows us wiser and more experience. Just use it to your benefit and to the benefit of others, especially the up and coming, the young ones, the children, to set good examples for them and to give them sound guidance as well. You know, I just came from the bathroom and just before the program started, came in, didn't feel like I wanted to, I wanted to pee, felt I was okay. And then just when, minute before the program is to start, I don't know if it's nervousness. Now, I know you probably might not believe Shelton Daniel ever gets any case of the jitters or the nerves when it's about going on air. Don't overestimate me. But at that point, I felt I needed to run to the bathroom. And so I told Jaquan, I got to take a bathroom break. And it was while I was using the bathroom, as we say, taking a leak, that I remembered a lot of people, they don't understand the broadcast environment. They're not experienced in it. They don't appreciate it. But I said, maybe when the owners and managers of radio and TV stations and so on are hiring people, even if they are non-broadcast staff, even if they are cleaners, even if they are janitors, even if they are station attendants, even if they are on the secretarial or administrative staff and so on, that they really should bring them to a sort of an orientation, a sort of a crash course in the broadcast operations of a station. I say so because I mean, at Radio St. Lucia back in the day, and I knew him before I was at Radio St. Lucia, long before, young man living up the morn, and presented myself before the late Mr. Brian Holden, who was then, I think, the manager of SLTV. The actual company was TV Rentals, and then they had SLTV as the television broadcasting end up the morn. And told him that I wanted to read the news in the evening and that I thought I could, and I remember, Mr. Holden looked at me and said, "What makes you think you can do it?" And he sent me to Chester Lloyd, who was the chief technician there, and the rest is history, that I was a student at school and reading news. Not my most wonderful performances, because Mr. Holden told me, one thing I want to tell you, just make sure you read loud. Good evening, and he emphasized this, and I took him literally, and I went, and a lot of people were saying that I was really belting out, but that's because Mr. Holden told me, and he never afterwards came and said, "You're going a little too loud," or Chester Lloyd.
told me anything, or the adjustment of levels. And so I suppose at the time I had my full air supply, just to borrow from the band and the Australian band. And good evening, yeah. One person once described me, rightfully so, as rustic and unpolished. But over the years, I'd like to think that I've gotten better. But here was the point about it. I used to share the news reading. Sometimes did a double barrel with the readers at the time. Von Noel, number one, was very encouraging, very helpful and so on. Gave me a lot of tips and so on. In fact, he was the first one who told me, Shelton, you have a tendency to shout. And there's a between loudness and shouting. And a guy, technically, he was very knowledgeable about broadcasting. He did, he went through his formal training. He knew the things. And one of the stories that Vaughn told me, there was also Gilbert Sultan. He's moved on as well. His son, the musician K.O. Gilbert, K.O. Sultan. I don't think Gilbert is his name as well. There was Beverly Ann Sanchez. She was a teacher at St. Joseph's Convent. Very nice lady. Really used to be also very encouraging. And it was around that time I got to know and become familiar with the Radio St. Lucia people, because the news was prepared there. You took it over to SLTV. So around the time I got to really know a little more closely Valerie Albert and Winston Springer. Quite a few of them. Even the gentleman who was the deputy general manager and accountant, Davis Williams. Yes. I got to meet them, Ernie Sion, and a whole lot of them there. Later on, these people were still there, such as the Gardner security guy called Callistus Roseman, who everybody knows as Steve, was there right back in the day and so on. Winston Hinkson I kind of knew before and outside of Radio St. Lucia because of his friendship with a family member of mine. But what Von Well used to tell me was that when you're on air and you're presenting, that is everything. Everything else comes second, even if you want to use the bathroom. You don't interfere. You're on air and you feel like you want to pee. Well, mister, usually when you're on air presenting, that part of your body is below the camera level, whatever. Or if it's radio, nobody knows, for you to interrupt a broadcast, he said, you have to pee on you. He said, when I was in broadcast school, you know what they did? We used to have these long scripts we used to take off the teletype machine. And I knew about the teletype machine. The Kanner Reuter teletype at RSL and so on was there. And one thing they were training you to do was to maintain your composure and keep your cool regardless of what came about. And he said, do you know, one time somebody came and they took a match and struck a match and lit the long piece of paper so that, there's a fire coming up and so on, just to see how I would react. Now, it's not a matter of you letting the fire burn you or burn down things, but how do you do? Do you go, or do like the late Peter Jennings of ABC used to do and so on, we seem to have, a little situation here, do excuse me, and, maybe tear it off or stamp it out or call for a break or something like that to deal with it. But you never let your audience see that you're unsettled, that you are panicked, that you are, disheveled by anything, was his point. And Vaughn told me, bathroom, there are many people you don't know, they pee on them while they're on air because, a newscast is going on, there's not a scheduled break, you must not grimace, you must not do anything like that. And so, I never pee on me, but I remember a situation while I was in Antigua, during my first stint with Observer Radio. I was I'd taken over a Sunday program, very popular, called The Big Issues. This one is called The Real Issues. I wonder if subconsciously I borrowed from that, but The Big Issues on Sundays, start at 12, finish at 3, 3-hour program. And I was one of Antigua and Barbuda's most respected, most highly regarded doctors, a radiologist, and then too many of them, radiologists. A lot of people, we think a radiologist is just a technician. That is a doctor who must have some advanced postgraduate because he is dealing with x-rays and scans and those things which have to do with radioactive nuclear material. We're talking about radium, we're talking about uranium, those kind of things that you associate with bombs. Not, I suppose, at that level of refinement and purification, but they deal with radioactive material. So that is a doctor who has to know the human body, as all doctors do, but he has to be, in addition to that, a scientist, of a higher order. And this radiologist who owns one of the most highly regarded popular medical clinics, came on my program on a Sunday. And at some point, I noticed that he's sitting in his chair and he's rocking himself like that from side to side, swiveling. He's maintaining his gaze for the interview, but his lower body, like he's twisting it from side to side. And it was only when the program was over that he told me, do you know I urinated on me? A doctor, I'm telling you, a man well grown. He said, I felt I wanted to pee, but the discussion, the way it was going and the calls that were coming, I didn't want to interrupt it and to ask for a bathroom break and so on. So I went on and I said, hell, this is not going to kill anybody. You're probably going to have to, dry out your chair and clean it out if it went down. And he got up to show me, his pants is wet. He was wearing blue jeans that day. Now, I don't think he needed to do that. He could have indicated to me and I would have taken a break. I mean, there were bathrooms in the building. But I remarked to myself and I said, this doctor, who I'm tempted to name, but since he probably doesn't remember that and, he's not a broadcaster, but he has that kind of mindset that Von Noel told me about. He has that kind of spirit in him that a good discussion, whatever that we are into, he does not want to interrupt it. The people are calling, they have a lot of questions. In other words, the vibe is good and it's flowing, and he doesn't want to interrupt the flow of the good program vibe that we had. That the man actually pee on him, a doctor, Now, I'm stressing a doctor because, the notions of respectability and pride and ego, you'd expect somebody at that level to have hell no, I ain't peeing on me, but he did it. And what I said about when you're in a broadcast environment, sometimes the owners need to be careful that they brief people. You come in as a cleaner, you come in as a janitor, whatever, tell them, look, this is a broadcasting. People may on air, they may need to go to the bathroom, and then flushing, after a pee may be the last thing on their mind. And there's another thing that I find that is weird. You've heard me talk about people's lack of respect for public facilities, comfort facilities, bathroom facilities. It's like we have a hatred. We need it. When it's not there, we're quarreling, pescotia, villa, pani toilet, blah, 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 blah. They put toilets. Some of us seem to have a grudge against toilets and public standpipes. He's always on payphones. He's always looking to mash it up, profession washer down, to do this kind of thing like it is an amusement for us. But just as bad is the fact that the people who are hired to do that, to clean them and to so on, over the years, they always seem to develop an attitude. Pa mwen ki kay flush chez moun mayo. Pa mwen ki ka netwaye. Si yo kapare na kite kon sa. You hear that a lot of the time and I say, okay. If you're so pissed off because somebody used the bathroom and it smeared their poop on the side and it looks ugly, I don't know how you make poop look nice anyway. Poop will always be poop, I don't know who will. That's what you hired to do. There are brushes they give you and disinfectant and so on. But you hear this thing all the time. But usually it's people who work on the government side of things. A lot of us, we have this thing that government is a 97-pound weakling, a lavabo that everybody becomes boss and everybody can say, not me, I'm not doing that. It's a kind of an attitude that they don't want to do it, use the toilet, he pee, he can't flush it, not me, I'm not flushing it, I live in it, so, you get this kind of thing. Whether government or not, there's attitude among some people. As an editor, news director, newsroom, news department manager, and so on, I have been totally bemused over the years about some people who working with you. You're supposed to be their boss, you're supposed to be their senior. One of them actually wrote me a memo, told me about don't ever refer to her again as being a superior. This is condescending and it's insulting. This thing where I wrote in something that as your superior, I expect you. No, she don't want to hear that. Pusa and so on. I don't know what was insulting about me being. But the thing about this particular individual and others that I have brought over the years, that I have managed over the years, is that they don't come and ask you, Mr. Daniel, there is a rehearsal with my son tomorrow that is going to go in the time whatever. Can I get some time to go pick him up a little later than I normally do? Or and that's something I've suffered as a news director over the years. It's like you pay a price for being a technically capable person. In other words, your staff know that you can read news and you can pick up a package and go on air and read it and do it. So because of that, people always sick. Because they know the boss, Shelton, will never let there be no news. Shelton will come and will push himself, and in 15 minutes he'll get a package together and he'll go on air and he'll read it almost to the point of ad-libbing it. And that's a heavy price I've paid, that people know that you're able to do what they do. So they always have some reason not to be at work. They always want time off. They always want this. They always want that, and so on. But what was most disturbing about a lot of them is that they won't come and tell you, can I go and do this? It's a matter of like they're just telling you, I have to go and pick up my son. I have to go and do this. I have to go and do that. So it's like, I'm just informing you that I won't be available and I won't be present, and I can do this. And I've always had a problem with that. Why can't you tell me, and especially if it's something that's known in advance, Mr. Daniel, XYZ, ABC, because, you're a human being, you're a family man, I'm a father, a husband, whatever, that there are times and situations, but of course, a lot of the time they were just playing for their own convenience. They always need some time off, but it's not like they're asking you for the time off, they're telling you that they want the time off. And if I was ever like that, maybe that is good reason for me to look back and repent. Sometimes we give our parents certain attitude and we disobey them and we don't comply with their instructions and we don't respect them and we don't show them the honor that we should, because we figure that we have everything figured out and our parents have just been a nuisance. And when you grow up and you have your own children and you begin to get some serious bad vibes from them, then you begin to understand what your parents were going through, even to the point of your parents being concerned about danger, me swinging from mango trees and all the crazy things I used to do, as a youngster. And you're saying you're having fun. What is it? Your mother cannot relax. Well, you get the same feeling of goosebumps all over your body and your skin crawling when you see your children doing certain things, jumping around in certain rocks where there are crevices, and if they fall there, it's curtains for them. And now you understand the kind of, how you call that, teeth on edge kind of anxiety your parents had to have. But the point I wanted to make, the experiences that I had, one here in St. Lucia and one in Antigua, thankfully not more than that. While you're on air, you feel like, a pea comes on you and you cannot hold it. And you say to somebody like Jaquan, okay, while this video is playing, how long is the video? How much time we have on the video? He says 1 minute, and you get up there and you pelt because you feel like you're going to pee on you. Unlike Doctor who did that in the studio. And the last thing on your mind is just a pee. It's not something worse, And you bound back to the studio for you to continue, only to have some co-worker who's not part of broadcast pushing open the door while you're live on air, You are struggling to catch your breath because you don't want, the other thing, you do not want people to hear you, So you're there trying to, compress, your diaphragm and to make sure you continue sounding as normal. And a co-worker working in some secretarial, administrative, other thing, non-broadcast, because no person who's a broadcaster, they'll understand that. Did you just use the toilet? Did you just use the toilet and don't flush it? And they're telling you that. They're barely trying to keep it beneath their breath. You're afraid that will go out through the air. And you on the side, you say, yes, I did. Why didn't you flush it? Why didn't you flush the toilet? And I'm saying, look at that, this is so inappropriate and out of place. I am on air. Somebody working at the same radio, TV, whatever station with me, pushing their way into the studio to come and basically take me to task for not flushing the toilet of a little pee, You don't need to know my business, but I'm lucky if that's health. My pee is always very light colored. They say almost clear, amber, light amber, whatever. So, my pee doesn't froth and foam, this kind of thing. I'm giving you a lot of info just to illustrate the point. And the person told me, I'm a woman, I have to go to this thing. And I said, to myself, now you're in the studio. You have to maintain your decorum and your dignity, but you wonder, doesn't the co-worker understand? And I say, what do I say to myself? What is the big deal about you go to a toilet? Apart from that, the toilet is clean, everything is okay. It's just that you notice somebody pee, you're prepared to push your way into a studio to come and quarrel with them about they didn't flush, when all it takes is just press a little lever. It's a little lever you have to press. I didn't even have time to wash my hands, but thankfully I'm always carrying sanitizer and a little bottle of other alcohol and everything, my little menthol thing. So I came to the studio and, and I didn't, but I can sanitize my hands quickly and so on, because to have open tap and everything, I felt would have taken. So sometimes below the camera level, I'm sanitizing. In fact, even without I go to toilet, my hands are showing dryness and scaling because I'm over sanitizing, using too much rubbing alcohol and whatever on my hands that is always, peeling off my skin and so on. So that was one experience I had in St. Lucia. And I said to myself, the broadcast people, the managers, they probably need to have some sessions with those people to let them understand what Von Noel had related to me and what I experienced, both in terms of a guest and my own self, having to run and come back and all this sort of thing. The other situation that I experienced, while working in Antigua, the station janitor, cleaner, whatever, who already had a beef against me, and for no other reason, but that I'm working night, preparing a newspaper that is to come out daily in the morning. So I'm at the station, during COVID pandemic and so on, and I prefer it because everybody has gone home. I'm practically alone at the station except for the night, overnight, because the radio station aspect goes around the clock, And I am there, preparing a newspaper, and there is a drinks cooler such as we have here at MBC. And that was the time I noticed every time I go and drink water from the cooler, the water has a funny taste. I cannot relate. How come the water is tasting differently? So there was a little supermarket again, round the clock. Some Syrians have there. You can open so late. Big up to you, Mr. Amer, was his name? Amer Hourani, a set of Hourani brothers who hold a business chain called Cool and Smooth. I used to go to Cool and Smooth, supermarket, Mr. Amer Hourani's supermarket, and buy a gallon bottle of water. And have it there because I don't want to drink water from the drinks cooler anymore, because the water tasting have a strange whack, when they say something whack, in my mouth and so on, something ain't right. Until one day, I happened to be going out to the front where the drinks cooler is, and I'm seeing the janitor with a tin of Lysol, Lysol disinfectant, spraying the water spout. In other words, where the water is coming out for you to drink. She is spraying it with Lysol. I could not contain myself. Who can? Folks, there's something that they stun you, they shock you. So I shouted, so what are you doing? And then she turned around ready to cry. She needs to clean the thing. She cannot clean it. She don't have anything to clean it with. I said, but you could have asked me. I would have told you that the spout can be unscrewed. And in the time I showed her, we have an electric kettle there. Just boil the water. Put it in the thing and pour boiling water over it. There are little bottle brushes that come in different sizes. Sometimes you get a size for something. You can scrub it. We can buy hydrogen peroxide, 2%, put it to soak in it. There are many options we can do to clean the water spout of a thing, but to be spraying Lysol, on it. Who tell her that? I don't realize lady vex with me so much. Next morning I come, I see lady, I say, good morning. Lady don't answer me. I said, why are you not answering me? Then she started exploding on me about I shout at her, the day before, and why didn't I call a meeting and this kind. I say, meeting for you spraying Lysol on the thing? I said, it's not a matter of education, You can have no schooling. You're supposed to know. In a workplace or anywhere, even in your home, where people are drinking water from a cooler water dispenser, that you are there spraying Lysol. Oh, she got on and so on. I went about my business, These things, you get nowhere with them. But next thing you know, one day the same thing happened to me. While on air, hosting a program, feel I want to take a leak. I run to the bathroom, which is even further than where it is there, to take and the last thing I'm thinking of is about flushing or anything. Again, pandemic time and so on. I'm never shot well. Everywhere around the station has sanitizing stations and everything. But you just want to get back, to doing your thing. When I came back within minutes, the same madam appears and pushes open the door of the studio. And her eyes, sometimes you see that freaky, bulgy look about people's eyes. And madam come to tell me, This is the last time she'll ever flush that toilet. If I don't flush it, I pee in the toilet. She knows I did and I didn't flush it and never flushed the toilet, and it's not her job to come and flush after me. And this is the kind of thing I'm wondering about the broadcast environment. When you hire people to work there who are part of the non-broadcast staff, they need to give them a little bit of, orientation and lecture. So that people, when they broadcast, an on-air person finds themselves in a situation like that they don't have supportiveness. But outside of that, I kind of think that people who want work, who have work, they're giving too much attitude. Nobody likes somebody who went to the toilet and don't flush it and this kind of thing. There are different levels. There are people who are technical in plumbing that when people put something like they stuff a paper bag in the toilet and it choke. It's not you, the janitor, they're doing it. They bring in plumbing people to come and unchoke it and to do the kind of thing. There's certain little ways you use a plunger, but not with somebody. People don't want to do jobs they were hired for because they have pride, because they have a certain sense of entitlement. There's too much of this foolishness about the place. And it is inconveniencing everybody, and it is preventing. Mr. Richard Frederick and the city council and whatever, they put public toilets over town. The people who work there ought to do their best to keep them clean, even when users have been unreasonable. And regardless of that, it is still your job to clean it within your ability and the tools that you have. It gets more complicated, a line choke, whatever. Somebody else comes to do it. And overall, I think we need to commit ourselves to greater respect as workers. That if you need some time off to go somewhere, especially if it is something you knew, to tell your supervisor or your manager, whatever, that I will need some time off to go and do this tomorrow. Not to come and tell it to them matter of fact, as if it's an entitlement and something so. I just think the attitude that many of us have, and I have simply used my experience as a broadcaster working in a broadcast entity to illustrate how those things can easily run out of control. And as we observe National Productivity Week and so on, I think these are the kinds of things we need to look into in terms of workplace interactions, in place of workplace understanding of people, of their roles, etc., so that they do not become issues that impact productivity and that impact service. Because service to the public, showing respect to the public, is not only when you're at a counter by a cash register and so on. Service is across the board in many more ways than we realize or care to regard. The real issues is on. Don't go away. I have much more that I need to talk about. I'll be opening the phone lines. I always do, don't I? But we'll be back in a moment for more.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The Ministry of Health has launched yet another service under universal health coverage. This new service includes conducting pap smears using liquid-based cytology, which will assist in eliminating cervical cancer.
This new method of conducting pap smears is more comfortable and more convenient. So ladies, contact your nearest wellness center to get to know about our pap smear clinics.
Turnaround time for HPV testing is 1 week. Any abnormal or positive test, there will be a following week for cytology testing. We're also going to test for HPV strains 16 and 18, which are the most aggressive, which cause cervical cancer. We can also test for other STIs, such as herpes simplex type 1 and type 2, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and others.
Patients with an abnormal HPV and an abnormal cytology shall be referred to the colposcopy clinic. At that clinic, we shall assure that you get the proper treatment and guidance.
So come in and access this new service. Your health is our priority.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you, at Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man.
Staying with the real issues on this Friday, 11th of October 2024. Do you remember this big brouhaha about a senior executive of Massey, I think the group general counsel and in charge of business integrity at Massey, a lawyer called Angelique Parisot Potter, who alleged that Massey was providing some kind of in-house workshop, seminar, training for senior executives, and she was pressured that she had to take part in it. And the training was being done in the United States. I think the location she gave was Fort Myers in Florida. And there was the facilitators or the trainers were a private consulting group called Delphi Consulting. And that Massey was paying them a tidy sum every year to hold this workshop for senior executives, and the workshop included communicating with the dead and healing with white light. I'll leave the healing with white light part. I don't really know too much of what it means and so on. Over the years, especially with the New Age mysticism expressed through yoga and transcendental meditation and silver mind control, and they've had so many different things. And as a young man growing up, I suppose, like so many, very interested in books about Eastern arts and mysticism and yoga and kung fu and karate and tai chi and deep breathing and all these kind of things. Books by a lady called Indra Devi, who was no Indian, but you would believe she was by the name, but was actually a white European woman who ended up living in and passed away in Mexico and so on. You know, the Loksam Rampa kind of thing, you know. And they had all kinds of things. One of them was cosmic breathing, you know, that you breathe, and by the breathing you're actually breathing in the energy of the stars and whatever and so on, and a whole lot of different things and so on. I don't really know about the white light, you know, what that may mean. They tie in, like I said, with a lot of Eastern mysticism that is founded in reincarnation and all those kind of things, etc. I'm happy for the day that I returned, because most of us were brought up Christian, but over time I think we probably find Christianity boring and the same things, same going to church and the same singing the same songs and all of that. So we want, you know, something innovative, something new, something that seems to transport us away from the tired sameness of the Bible and church and Christ and all of that. Flavius Josephus, a Jew who, after the final destruction of Jerusalem and the temple by the Romans, and in the year 70 was held captive and became kind of like a house slave and so on, to the Roman captors and all of that. helping them to understand things that were in his own language and so on, and gaining some favor and standing. His real name was actually Joseph Ben Matthias, but he took on the more Latin Roman sounding name Flavius or Flavius Josephus and so on. He wrote volumes of books, the antiquities of the Jews being among them. And one of the things he repeatedly said was, the big problem of his people was their love for innovations. In other words, life is going good, their covenant with God is being observed and obeyed, and they have prosperity. For some reason, they became restless with this same old rituals of whatever it is, of the temple and the animal sacrifices of the priests. So they always wanted to experience something new. So the very same practices of the people around them that they had been warned not to take, human sacrifices and all kinds of fertility rites and so on, they weren't doing the same things. And that was the problem with his people. He uses the word innovations. You toujours vle on lot bagay a pa di sa yo ni, and they keep getting into trouble for it. So, why am I going with all of this about antiquities of the Jews and so on? Maybe a lot of us, who for the most part were brought up as Christians and so on, we want to experience something else, something new. And so perhaps that was the appeal of the Eastern mysticism of yoga and the explosion of interest in the martial arts and those things and so on. So I don't know about the white light if that's not part of it, but communicating with the dead, I believe almost all of us who have any familiarity with the narratives of sorcery and the occult will know that there is one name and one name only for this art, this practice of communicating with the dead, and it's called necromancy. In St. Hill, am I right? Necromancy. It has been universally condemned from the dawn of history and religion and so on. That is, the religions that we relate to, the Hebrew of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Judeo, Levitical religion of a nation of Israel when it was founded. Islam, condemns it, and Christianity tells its people have nothing to do with it. In Galatians, I think the Apostle Paul lists sorceries and things like these as among the works of the flesh. Necromancy, there's a Netanyahu quoted from the book of Samuel, some time ago, but I think, in the book of Samuel, there's also a story about a king of Israel going to invoke, the spirit of Samuel, who was dead already. So, 2 Samuel was probably at least partly written by other people. And for that, it said the very next day the king went to battle and he died. And it said Saul died for his iniquity, which he had, whatever invoked, a dead person by going to a witch and whatever it is. I don't mean this thing about communicating with the dead. That would be something that would be revolting and at variance with the belief system of the majority of us in St. Lucia. And not just those who hold to Christian, those who hold to Rastafari and whatever else it is. Communicating with the dead, necromancy, moun ki ka ale an da cimetière pour invoquer mort, ek fè tout bail comme ça. We don't want to have anything to do with it. But the shareholders of Massey and the executive of Massey, whatever that meeting was, where Angelique Parisot Porter raised those matters, and she eventually resigned from Massey, or she was forced out, basically. She got a lot of hostility and so on. So maybe she felt she couldn't, just like Dr. Hygienist Jean Leon, or the St. Lucian president of CDB, just felt the way he was treated, I'm not wanted. Even if they don't actually fire me, but who can work in this kind of toxic thing where I'm the boss, but people conspire to send me on leave. I'm not told exactly what it is, why they want me, out like that. It's better to just go. Same thing I said about the water. I don't think she was trying to poison it. I think it was ignorance. But you don't know who will spray Lysol into your drinking water or something worse. Poison you. Better you don't stay there. But it is very interesting that a very senior person, a lawyer, the director and senior executive responsible for business integrity, I don't get the sense that she is a religious or spiritual person who's into metaphysical inquiry and this kind of thing. I get the thing that she was mostly concerned about what she felt was the wasting, because she's a shareholder also in the business. Why Angelique Parisot Porter seemed to have felt that the wasting of the company's money, what she says, scarce foreign exchange, on sending people to train in communicating with the dead and healing with white light, she felt that was a whole lot of magie. I have not seen anything to suggest that it is from any kind of spirituality that she found it revolting. But those of us, these things have never really been refuted, by Massey. Other people in St. Lucia, for example, who have some shareholding or some interest. I looked from Massey's directors list and I didn't see any St. Lucian person, but by dint of having some association of shareholding, might there be people in St. Lucia who went to this training, this necromancy, about communicating with the dead and so on? Who might they be? Will they talk? Will they tell us what they know? Will they tell us, well, this is not true, this is not really what happened, I undertook the training, and this is the benefit that I got from it, this is what it did for me, this is why I think it is beneficial, or I saw what it was and I felt that was nonsense and I turned my back on it. Do we have any people in St. Lucia who may have knowledge about this communicating with the dead and healing with white light as part of the whole Massey thing, or was it entirely a Trinidad people? Because Massey is majority owned by the government of Trinidad and Tobago through the National Insurance Corporation. They have other shareholders, the Unit Trust Corporation, First Citizens and so on. So it's not a case of it's one little narrow clique and coterie of people. Is the government of Trinidad interested in what's going on there? Because I don't know, Trinidad has a much more diverse ethnically and religiously and we might say culturally society than we have. Society than we have. So maybe there might be greater tolerance. There's a lot of Hindus there. There are different kinds of people there and so on, more than the kind of diversity you'll find in St. Lucia. But if there is an allegation that part of the essential training for chief executives, and I suppose those who are interested, directors are appointed by the shareholders based upon your shareholding, the size of your shareholding. If the directorate of the company is 100 strong, you have the right to appoint 20 directors because of the breadth of your shareholding in it. Is the government of Trinidad and Tobago concerned about it? But most importantly, St. Lucia, do we have people here who are familiar with this alleged occultic training by Delphi Consulting in Fort Myers, Florida? Especially the part about communicating with the dead, necromancy. Do they know about it? Have they participated in it? What is their feedback and their views about it? And the public of St. Lucia, is it something that we have any reason to be concerned about? Now, don't quote me as saying that the things from the supermarket and the business that they're infused with devil and necromantic evil, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if such practices which run contrary to the sensibilities of a vast majority of people, nominally even in our societies, about involvement in sorcery and mysticism and occultism, especially when it comes to communicating or communing with the dead, invoquez more. Is it something that we should seek some answers of people in St. Lucia who by virtue of some shareholding or association might know about this and might be in a position to explain to us? It's important. Massey is a big player in St. Lucia. It's a big deal. I'm not saying they're tainted, but this is no ordinary Premier Vini person who went and made those allegations. This is a lawyer. This is the general counsel of the group. General, overall lawyer. Other lawyers in the group would have worked, beneath her. And she was the executive in charge of business integrity for the entire Massey group. Do we understand the concept of business integrity? Are there not questions to be asked about business integrity if a key and fundamental part of the training, of the orientation of saying, look, this is the kind of head on your shoulders, this is the kind of mental, intellectual formidableness that we want, your formidability that we want you to have as a top executive, that you must get training in how to commune with the dead, what is the impact of that upon that business in terms of how it engages with, how it interacts with, and the impact it is likely to have on a mostly unwary public? I just put the question there for your comments and so on. Anyway, Jaquan. Folks, I've spoken many times about the bad optics. And it's more than just optics. It's about resources. It's about non-revenue water. It's about wasted water. And it's not any water, it's treated water. It's clean water. It's clear water. Or it's water that people could be using and badly need. That in times when so many people are complaining about not getting water, and at precisely the time when our water company announced an at least 2-day water shortage in the north of the island, so that they can deal with certain maintenance issues of pipes and replacements and so on, necessary things, that you walk around and you see water tanks, whether up the morning some time ago, where was it, at Paybush Babono or somewhere there was a complaint that people were not getting water, but I have seen it. I mean, water gushing out, and it's not a little bit of water. It's a lot of water over how many days, you know? Water is just oozing. Sometimes it's something in the road that they were doing something, digging, whatever, if they hit it or they were trying to, and water just keeps going. It's very bad. It's a bad, people cannot wrap their minds around it. Whatever it is that is needed, I've heard talk about the filters and the valves that they need to shut off the water when the tanks, apparently they don't have it. Wasco, we know for a long time, has been undercapitalized. I want to appeal, if not to the people of Wasco, Honorable Prime Minister, the same way that you stepped in and averted what some people seem to have been bracing up themselves for, some kind of clash over conditions at OKEU. You found the money, 11 or 15 million to pump into OKU. We know Wasco is undercapitalized, and we know why. Because it cannot charge what the real cost of its services are. Water is a political hot potato. Water is something that, you know, it's the same thing about government and things having to do with government. It's always the lavabo, the 97-pound wickling. We can have the hose spraying water, you know, washing our car with abandon. But they talk about putting 50 cents. You know, water is going to come to what, $15 per 1,000 gallons. You say, okay, let's put that at $15.50. All of a sudden, people want to protest me. You say, "Unsa, you di open male way, guy, you can raise door. Oh, you got to about 50 cents." Only because it's government. You know, government is always supposed to come at chump change and peppercorn prices for everything, and even that chump change and peppercorn price, we don't want to pay it. You know. It's always want, no kind more, but you know, private things and so on. You know, we go and we buy 1 liter of water. You understand? For a price that, based upon Wasco's ratings and so on, we could get, you know, maybe 100 gallons of water and so on. But it's always, that's the way. But that's not the point. Wasco needs to be recapitalized, more heavily capitalized, so that things like the need for shut-off valves on those tanks don't continue to cause, when the tank is full, for water to be wasting that way. There's a gentleman from Patience whom I have known practically all our lives. I'm a couple years older than him, I know, but Alan Moncherry. He's no enemy of the government, and Alan sent me a clip concerning the water tank at the height above Patience, a place they call Saint Maui. That you drive up there, I'm trying to remember if there's any memorable thing, but Saint Maui, good distance up, nice walk, if you're just looking for a nice cool walk and you get into the high mountain air, and you know no houses there, but it's a place like this, and there's a big Wasco water tank at the top which gets water from whatever the catchment is and treatment, and you know it feeds the area and so on. And Alan noticed, and he took a little video clip. And he has a little voice clip he sent me too. I want to play the video clip to see the kind of water that is pouring out and cascading. It's like it has become a river on its own. And the thing about those leaks when they come, that water, the quantity of it, is going to cut grooves and gorges and ravines, and it's going to affect the landscape. And next thing you know, you have a landslide, you know, and somebody's land and their garden becomes practically, you know, not feasible and not, it doesn't work out anymore. It's just too much of it. Now, I messaged senior executive of Wasco, and I want to say they both responded to me and they said they will look into it to address it. But I gather it's not something that they can do everything about it all at once, because the resources to get what is needed, they may be struggling for it. We cannot afford to let water be wasting at a time when people have to do without it in several areas. And like I say, it's not just the tank. I used to live up the morning and oh my goodness, it was the Quev chair to see the amount of water that was being discharged and for how long this would go on. As the same thing that Paybush, that people were talking about. The tank there is a lot of water over a long period of time. And this thing now at Patience and so on, we know the problems they've had with the Miku North Patience area water, and Honorable Jeremiah Norbert has spoken about the steps he's had to go through and negotiate, and they're in the process of seeing to it that those problems don't last. In the meantime, if it is for just the optics, although it's more than that, because when you treat the water and it's clean and nice, and to let it waste like that, it means that you wash your hand, and instead of looking for a towel, you wiping your hand in the dirt. Now, what's the sense of washing your hand? So let's look at this clip from Alan Moncherry, and I think there's also a little voice clip. So we'll play the clip first, and then we'll I don't know how you can do it, because I think the video clip is narrated, right? Okay, so let's play it.
That is what you call evidence. Or you could see how much water running down there, pouring down, water, wasting, pouring down from the tank. That is water pouring down from the tank in all these drains. You could hear that. You all could help, you all can see it. It's a video. That's water pouring down from the tank all the way up there. Alright? Pouring down from the tank. Got that running all the way down there. Water. Water filtering. Water from the tank. And yet still there is no pipe-borne water. No water. Look at that. No water in the pipe. And all that is water running down from the tap, and yet still there is no water for people to bathe, wash and drink in their pipe. The pipe is closed. And look at the amount of water that's been wasted. You. Got it. All that is just water flowing down from the tank. Water from the tank. From the tank. All that is water flowing from the tank. Running down the road. Yeah, running down the road. Down the roadside. All that is water from the tank. Water flowing from the tank. And yet still, no pipe-borne water for people. Okay? The pipe is closed. People cannot get water to bathe, not to wash, not to drink. Look at that. You see the road? Look, that is somebody's entrance. That is going to somebody's home. Look at that. Look at that. Look at water flowing down to somebody's yard. Okay? Look at that. Water flowing down from the tank, somebody's yard, coming from the road. Look at that. Look at water into the road. Water all in the drain. Okay? All in the drain. Water all in the road. Flowing down the road. Going down to somebody's yard. Water running down the drain. All in the culverts. Okay? Water. Water. Look at water. Look at water. That is water wasting from the tank. Water wasting from the tank. And it's not just today, yesterday. And there is no water in the pipe, filter into people's home. Okay? No water. Look at that. I want everybody to see. Look at that. See that? You see that? That is water. That is water flowing down. Water flowing down from the tank. Look at that. All what you see in there is from the tank. Okay? Yet still, people ain't getting no pipe-borne water at their home. Not to bathe, not to wash, not to drink, not to do nothing. Okay? And look at water wasting from the tank. Look at that. Okay? That's in the drain, running down the road, running down the drain from the tank. Look at that. So what is Wasco's problem really? I want somebody to tell me. Look at that. That is in the drain. Look at that. Water is running down the road. Look at that. All in the road. Water. Destroying the road from the tank. Water. Look at that. Look at that. That is water wasted. Look at that. Look at that. All that is water wasted. Look at that. From the tank. Okay? Water all in the drain. All in the road. Okay? All over. Look at that. Look at that. From such a distance. Okay? Water is running down the drain from the tank. Look at that. Okay? From the tank. Running down the road from the tank. And when I tell you all from the tank, running down the road and in the drain from the tank. I'm not talking about 100 meters. I'm not talking about 200 meters. I'm not talking about 400 meters. I'm not talking about 500 meters. Okay? Look at water wasting from the tank. Look at it. See water wasting. And fine, no pipe-borne water. Oui. Pas de café. Oui. Pas de café. Oh, you see that? You see that? See that? Okay? That is more than 700 meters, okay, of water running from the tank.
Yeah, okay, folks. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't know if anything needs to be said. That road in St. Maui, especially in the upper areas that Alan took his time to walk to show that water, it is a road that is very important not only to residents ordinarily, but to farmers. There's a lot of agricultural activity, I recall, that would take place in that area. The road in that area, we don't expect it's going to be neatly paved, although it could be, because it goes up through St. Maui and it circles around into what you call the Lomba Lahu area. Part of it branches off into where we used to call Cooley Town, but was renamed to Noki Avenue after our long distance runner, Zephrinus Joseph, who is called Noki. That's his nickname. So eventually what that water did is that it would cascade down into the Noki Avenue, Cooley Town branch of the Patience River, and then it would drain into the Patience River and so on. The Patience River has its own route coming from a place not far where that tank is, where they call Mon Louis. So there's some little windings and so on. But what he's saying is that this water is running alongside the road, impacting some people's properties and it is damaging the road. So not only is it causing a lot of water to be wasted, but then you end up finding now that the road might be unusable or might be really, really damaged because of it. And a lot more work has to be done and money spent on it. This is not attacking anybody. This is not attacking the manager of Wasco operations manager. I believe this thing is happening because they're under-resourced, under-capitalized to get what is needed. I was told before that it is some valves that are needed and so on, some shut-off valves. Yes, it's not your ordinary valves for your home. If it's a tank of that size, it requires special valves of a certain capacity. But we need to get it done. We need to get it done. Public anger will be stoked if people are saying, "Mon package went low, et puis autant de l'eau qu'a gaspillé." This is the real issues. When we come back, phone lines will be open. Alan Moncherry sent a voice note to accompany that clip. I don't even know if we need to play it, but we'll play it by air, see how, the time goes and so on, and whether we can play that as well. This is the real issues.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The Ministry of Health has launched yet another service under universal health coverage. This new service includes conducting pap smears using liquid-based cytology, which will assist in eliminating cervical cancer.
This new method of conducting pap smears is more comfortable and more convenient. So ladies, contact your nearest wellness center to get to know about our pap smear clinics.
Turnaround time for HPV testing is 1 week. Any abnormal or positive test, there will be a following week for the cytology testing. We also going to test for HPV strains 16 and 18, which are the most aggressive, which cause cervical cancer. We can also test for other STIs such as herpes simplex type 1 and type 2, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and others.
Patients with an abnormal HPV and an abnormal cytology shall be referred to the colposcopy clinic. At that clinic, we shall assure that you get the proper treatment and guidance.
So come in and access this new service. Your health is our priority.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man.
Staying with the real issues with me, Shelton Daniel, alongside Jaquan, our technical operator. The telephone lines are open. I'll open them now. We don't have much time, so whatever else I decided to deal with, I think the time for preamble has been exhausted and more. So you can WhatsApp call us on 487-9849. That's 758-487-9849. You can WhatsApp call us on that number. And you can also direct call us on the landline 4533-911. All right, so we are taking your calls 487-9849 and 4533-911. You know, there's also some of the picture that someone sent, and pertaining to Wasco leaving a length of pipe that they had dug up and done some repair, and they left the length of pipe in the drain. And also the place where they disturbed, they already recently paved the surface, is also cause for concern. And that has been a concern for a long time, not just here, but in almost every Caribbean territory. Of you pave the road and the utility companies, water and others, immediately after have need to go and dig it up. Why there's not better coordination? We have a call on the line. Hello?
Good afternoon, Shelton.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon to you.
Shelton, I don't even know what to tell you about that video you just put a while ago. This is coming from my area, and I have witnessed that 1,000 times. This guy who took his time to take this video, he should be given a gold medal worth doodles. Because this thing has been going on for so long, Shelton. My friend's house is just about a stone throw from where that tank is situated. And there is no water in his house, and this water is just cascading down that drain from this area up to the main road down in Passion. So I can't tell you how important it is for you to show this so people can at least address it.
Wait a minute. You're telling me the water goes down St. Mary right down to the Passes Main Road?
All the way from St. Mary.
I thought Alan told me that then the water turns down the hill and goes into towards Cooley Town.
It diverted into different places.
Okay.
But if it continues, that's where it goes.
Okay, wow.
Depending on the landscape.
I know, but I would think that when the water reached around the home of opposite where the late Hakot Oscar was, down to Mr. Antoine's place.
In that area, yes.
Yeah, that the water would, as you would say, the guy penché this and mon now, oban activate.
Because passer des son calé juste en bas.
Okay.
Ça son ba moi witness à deuxième et puis pas tant moi regarder yo walker from Wasco te ka mouche chime moi witness li too. It's about almost like 3 months ago, 2 to 3 months ago. That happened in my presence. I saw it, and I've been seeing it a couple of because this guy has my friend's building house, just built a new house, and I did the plumbing in there, so I could tell you.
Wow.
I could even do anything on the pipes to test them because of lack of water. And even at the point that he was building, he had a pump on the other side of the road where the water was going. He had actually dug a hole, and he had a pump in there to pump the water so he could get some water on the other side. And whilst this is happening, there's no water in his house, just a stone throw from that side. So I'm telling you, this guy who took his time to do this, he deserves more than a gold medal.
Okay.
And that needs to be shown many times, and it needs to be taken to Wasco so they come and address it as soon as possible, because you cannot tell me that you have so much water wasting and nobody in the area getting water at the time that the water is being wasted.
Yeah.
I do not believe, because I have a very good idea of what plumbing is. I don't believe it is just a valve missing that is causing that. Because if the valve is missing and the tank is overflowing, why can't you just distribute the water to the people while it is overflowing? Why does it have to go down the drain?
Okay. I don't have the answers to that. I don't really know the technical nitty-gritty. But let's say the pipes that would distribute the water, they have a problem. They're old, they're corroded, and so on. I keep saying it's just the appearances. The appearance alone is infuriating. Find a way to shut it off. Don't let people see so much water over so many days, a long time wasting like that.
It's heartbroken.
Yeah.
And you watching this happening. You are just there. Your house is just next to the road. The water is cascading down the road, and you have no water in your house.
Yeah.
Can you believe this? And it's happening every 2-3 times a week.
Okay, my friend, thank you.
All you see, I have witnessed the guy just walking up there. You drive up in his pickup. He goes up there, shut the water, and then on his way back, there's no water in your house. And then in a minute, water is cascading down in the drain.
Wow. Okay, my friend, thank you very much. Yeah, let me just tell you that I have gotten I've gotten responses from, like I said, two senior people who said, one said, thanks, I will address it. And another one said, thanks, I will direct it to the respective officer and get back to you. Okay, so they know I forwarded the video clip and Alan's voice clip about it and maybe my own comment on it. And so they acknowledge, that they will look into the matter. We have a call on the line. Good afternoon, Real Issues.
Yes, good afternoon. And how do you do, sir?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Man, I'm so upset to see that crap. And Wasco always have an excuse. A line 1, 2. I am not trying to incite violence in St. Lucia.
You better not.
Okay, Mom. No, I'm trying not to.
You better not.
But really, moi just feel si moi te simple ici. Wasco te kay pour courir tout partout en toute direction. Parce que là, il y a un problème de yon côté, là, il y a l'autre plus problème de l'autre côté. They are not taking care of the problem. How? Man, you don't see that stream of water?
Yeah.
I have the very few ravines have that amount of water. There are certain places in Chumaso River that doesn't even have that pressure.
Yeah, right now, our rivers and our ravines and so on, they don't have, most of them don't have that kind of flow. And then when you have water that has already been treated, that has already been, filtered and chlorinated and everything, that is just to get it into the pipe for people to use it and for it to be wasted.
So why you close the pipe?
I don't know.
Why is the pipe closed to begin with and it is going to wastage?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
we have heard about the Pasias water supply project upgrade that Honorable Jeremiah Norbert has been pushing, and we finally saw groundbreaking and opening for it and so on. And in the meantime, for that to be happening, like I say, that just sometimes they may have a good reason for closing off the pipe, but to me, just the appearance, what we call the optics of seeing maka and glow, a glow ka piece this and go, honestly.
But mama do bagay. Moi adi de Canada. Canada pani gel a rivière. Ek moi vle kwe you can recycle glue. That is what I believe. Because in Canada, you're not allowed to do this and do that. You're not allowed to drop toilet paper in the toilet. No, pas ça flush ça. You do mette you about special bags. Special pour conti tout bagay special. Ça pas supposé aller à dedans toilette là. So moi quand le moment de comment quoi ça me dit il se le carry recycle glue à tout. Vous comprenez? Mais moi quand de manière tout monde ka ouais glue ka gaspiller. Chaque côté Wasco ni glue ka couler. Là on dit ça yon excuse. Moun pas ka joindre glue. Eh bien, tout le monde vous a lavé moto kayo. Il fait bagay parce qu'il souni glue pour gaspiller Wasco. La pas ni loi pour nous. And another thing I have to say about Nancy. Nancy is asking the lady, what role does Nancy play to ask the lady for her qualifications, why she's working with CIP? Well, Shelton, I'm trying to be a good girl. I don't want to be angry these days. I'm too old for that.
Okay, and we have somebody else. We have somebody else on the line, so let's give them a chance.
Nancy, I want to see your qualifications.
Yeah, she's the director of what she is. She's the director of special projects implementation or something like that. She still has that post, I suspect. Thank you very much. We have a call on the line. Hi, good afternoon. Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Shelton.
Hey, my brother. How are you doing?
How are you doing, my brother? Shelton,
yes.
I do not know if you had the opportunity to listen to a statement made by Jimmy Haynes.
That was in connection with candidates, something about candidates?
No, it was in connection with the banking system. And he mentioned a number of banks, and he mentioned, I don't remember the name of the banks because I cannot listen to it in passé, but the reality that he was mentioning the fact that there are banks that were fined because of the fact that they were irregular in their due diligence and so on, and some money laundering did occur at those banks, and those banks were fined, and those banks were connected to the CIP and St. Lucia and other countries and so on.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to sound intelligent, and then I listened to the tip show. So you hear the flowers now lighting up. You know, oh wow, wow, wow. Oh, we told you, told you. Shelton, anybody who's following international vibes, whether it's business, politics, or whatever, I would like them to name me a bank in the history of the world that has not been fined at one point or the other. JP Morgan, Chase, every bank has been fined at one point or the other for letting certain due diligences slip through their fingers. This has happened to every major bank, you know, every major institution. So is that a reason now not to do business with no bank whatsoever? Huh? So not because those banks faltered along the way that you're saying now that any company that comes to St. Lucia, let us not trust them, let us not do any kind of business with them, even though we have the due diligence or whatever, you know, on them, you know, let us not trust them because a particular bank may have faltered. You know?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like saying, just fold our hands and no longer solicit any kind of interest in any kind of development or what they call investment in our country. Because there's not one major bank in the world that has not faltered.
Yes. You know something, listen to me. You know something I find about the United Workers' Party? And I don't want to be in any way disparaging or insulting because I don't support them. But this year, the United Workers' Party, its leader Alan Shastney and some of his, what you might consider to be his primary or principal surrogates where public communication is concerned, they have really destroyed their own credibility. These people come out and speak about things with a certain degree of verve and it's like we know what we're talking about, and you know that is and then next thing you go and you do a little checking and you realize it's all lies. It's all about St. Lucia has lost corresponding banking relationships, and then the Bank of St. Lucia comes out and say, you know, nothing to go so, you know, we have no such issue. And then they even try to put Dominica into it, and Roosevelt Skerritt comes and says, my goodness me, I know nothing about that, you know. Then they try to put in whatever, and they try to even go and interview Timothy Antoine, you know, the head of the Eastern Caribbean Center. And Antoine says, but what are you talking about? He doesn't know. And these are the people, finance ministers and the governor of the ECCB, who know about that thing, first of all. Gaston Brown, the Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, has been talking about this de-risking, which he says the de-risking actions of these major banks have been resulting in a loss of banks. So he says we are being debanked, you understand? But there has been no withdrawal of correspondent banking because of concerns about fraud and corruption and financing of terrorism and money laundering and CIP. None of that has occurred. There has been a pullout of many banks from the Caribbean because the Caribbean, on the sum of it, it may seem like a big deal to us. It is so small, it's not profitable for them. You know, the amount of regulatory requirements they have to meet, the amount of fees they have to pay, and they slip up one bit, and the kind of fines that the regulators in their countries will put on them, that they consider the Caribbean, as we would say in our Creole, top cocoa pude susiwo, you know, so they pull out from us and so, you know.
It's a risk factor that does not even wolf the headache. And they are engaging us because we are part of the world, and they know they have to engage us. So they're doing so when we go to them and we discuss like the ECT banks and so on, discuss them and show them how important our correspondent banking is to us as small island nations and so on. So they take on the burden. You know what I'm saying? But it's really and truly a burden to them. You know what I'm saying?
But Alan Shastney goes out and Alan Shastney makes up all kinds of stories, and Martinez, he brought on a liar extraordinary, a fraud. This guy comes there, and it's like the guy became the primary source of reference and verification. And if not, everything is not true. So I don't know.
My brother. Not to cut you short, but recently again, only recently, he was in an interview with Tim. I think it was yesterday or the day before, right? And he kept making that same statement about Dominica losing the correspondent banking. Alan Shastney was still making those statements. up to yesterday or day before.
Man, we would lose our correspondent banking relationships. And that would be kept, that cannot be kept a secret, because the chaos it would cause of St. Lucians on Facebook and calling about how the Western Union is not accepting money they try to send to St. Lucia, and money transfers they wanted to make, and this and that, and their credit card was being, declined despite having, in more than enough money on their thing. Man, I'm telling you, the kind of noise and chaos that would come about, when St. Lucians in the diaspora and St. Lucians at home realize they can't buy things online, they can't send money to things, they can't do transfers, they can't do Western Union or MoneyGram thing or whatever because of the loss of correspondent banking. This would be absolute mayhem. Have you heard that happening? I don't know.
But beyond that,
yeah.
What the problem I believe stems from the fact that after they tried that situation about the gentleman being arrested, all right, for that company that's involved in the supposedly involved in the Rock Hall housing, and they heard that the housing project is going ahead.
Yeah.
So that is giving them sleepless nights. That Philip J.P. is finally, and not finally, has been from day one doing what he promised, putting the people first. And that housing project is going up in Rock Hall. To hear some of the statements, where they put in a housing project in a Rock Hall, where does Rock Hall have the land for that? And all kinds of stupid statements, as if the engineers and the people who are involved in this do not know what they're doing.
Yeah. So I'm telling you now, Shaz, anytime UWP, it don't matter if it is Nancy or Jimmy or Dominic or any of them say something, I am taking it with a grain of salt. If it is true, it is something that you should be able to confirm from multiple sources, news or whatever. I look otherwise to see if there's anything from other sources, such as, for example, what the governor of ECCB had to say. If there is loss of correspondent banking, we are in an economic union, we are in a currency union, we now have a centralized agency to deal with our CIP. So is there any kind of grumble or noise or murmur of concern coming out of Antigua, out of St. Kitts, out of Dominica, out of Grenada? How come it's only St. Lucia and Alan Chasniamen saying it? So I do this kind of checking, and almost every time they have come out with those vibes, it has been proven to be a lie, untrue, blatant, and so on. So I really do not allow myself to be roused even to interest, much less to annoyance, when UWP makes those kind of allegations. We've seen too much of it,
But also, you remember the last meeting, that regional meeting that they had on the CIP. The government, the United States government treasury was present.
Exactly, and you don't have any expressions of
They gave information and they gave ideas and concepts to help the CIP program.
Good point.
So there was no condemnation from them or from America whatsoever.
Good point.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. We probably have time for one more call. I don't know. Let's take one more call before we wrap up for today and for the week. Good afternoon, caller. Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Shelton. Bon après-midi, camarade. Bon après-midi, les toutes.
Yeah, bon après-midi pour. Comment vous y
Moi, là, kachebeti ko adouma, mais compagnie.
Ok.
Moi, le dit Chazi. Bonjour pour vous, Chazi. Moi, quand posséder qu'il y a besoin ça, on ça ni chance pour ça naviguer. Mais si pas, ou toujours ni réalité là avec vous. Shelton, là nous regardons ce principe là, CDB ni board directeur yo. Pourtant moi connais CDB. Tout membre à ce board là, c'est ministre finance. Un pays à côté yo ka représenter. Dernière administration. Là nous regardons qui monde qui est ministre finance. Alan Chasney. Qui mon Alan Chasney mettait en les board là pour représenter board là? Guy Joseph. Là toutes les autres membres car comme là mais yo tout membres teni premier ministre et même ministre financier. Yo ni cette liste ni ministre economic development. Ça c'est qualité faux pas. Et qualité Westpaya. Chasse n'est pas tenu pour institution nous, il pas tenu pour nous, et qui fait ça te fait ça a été vrai. Qui que ça pas ou dit
Go ahead.
Anybody
Go ahead. Go ahead. The 2 o'clock is on us already. Wrap up.
Ok, mwen denye bagala sa mwen really kou yo pou a Shelton a vote, le mwen ten nou an preamble nou. Aso Von Noel pali ba ou e kadou konsan le moun ka fè un program avec Nietzsche konan le ou la ek Uni Bouchebe kou. Shelton mwen ka yi di première fois.
Ok, non ni pou nou sa ale. Excusez-nous.
Alright, ok, palwa ka.
2024 will Double Daily Grand 6, 9, 16, 17. Big 4, 0, 8, 3, 5. The Big 4 Multi-X Bold Run is 2X. Pick 2, 6, 1. The Pick 2 Multi-X Bold Run is FB. 1 off, 8, 8, 9. Lucky 3, 7, 7, 1. The Lucky 3 Multi-X Bold Run is 5X.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues